Bones are amazing things. They hold us up. They support us. They make us strong. But bones have other uses. In the past, bones were thrown by diviners, seeking out the mysteries of the future. Now the bones are cubes, made of plastic or resin, but they still reveal things to us. As they fall from our fingers and rattle across the table, the story becomes clear. Welcome to Bone Throwers Theater, an RPG actual play podcast.
Welcome back to Bone Throwers Theater and this special one-shot of Grimworld. My name is Jeff, and today I'll be playing Nathaniel, aka Nickel.
This is Jeremy. I'll be playing Justice Ciro, aka Juice.
This is Johnny. I will be playing Franklin, and whatever else they want to call me.
My name is Aaron, and I am playing Jamison, also known as Jim.
And my name is Jordan, and I am playing Arlo. Arlo is sometimes called Squint.
My name is Mike, and I will be the Grim Master for today's story. All right, guys, so we need to create a party. We've got our characters up and going, and now we need to create that party. So like we talked about last episode, the rules really reward people for playing as a party together to defeat monsters that are well beyond any individual's ability to defeat. And so we have to assemble our party. And that involves asking a couple of questions, as well as coming up with a name for the group, or not, your choice. But we need to ask each other some creative questions. So I'll actually read this part from the book. You will each take turns answering questions from the script in this session, or perhaps even asking other players questions of your own design. It is group preference how you do this. The important thing to understand is that these questions and answers should create intricacies in the relationships between the survivors, as well as the world around them. Assembly is all about giving your relationships depth and interwoven connection. So I will start to my left with Aaron, and I will ask you a question, and then you will craft a question for Johnny, and we'll go around that. We'll probably do that twice, and then we'll see if we want to go across the board any or how we want to do that. Feel free to be creative. I know from this cast's background that you guys are well versed at this. Don't hold back.
So, real quick, when I craft a question for Johnny, is that specifically a question between Johnny's character and my character?
Nope.
Okay.
But can it be?
It can be.
Okay.
Yes, it can be between you and the person you are asking. It can be between two other characters. It can be something specific to that character. Or maybe a question from character to character. Why did you do this thing to me the other day, right? Like, pretty wide open field in terms of how we establish the connections that intertwine us. So, Jim, who are you most likely to help if you had to choose between saving one of two party members?
Probably Squint.
And who would you not save?
I would not save Nickel.
And is there a reason for either of those answers?
I feel like Nickel's contributions are not always necessary. Squint has a very valid skill set that is used to help the party. Nickel is very much an accessory.
I love it. All right, so now Aaron to Johnny.
Right in the kisser.
Jim to...
Bruh. Tell me again about the time that Squint almost killed you.
Well, see, he asked me to fix something for him that he was trying to sell, not telling me that it was actually a landmine disguised as a coffee pot. Yeah, he's lucky he's not dead.
That makes sense.
Alright, Juice. Were you the fool that brought Nichols in on this?
I was not the person that brought Nickel in on this. I mean, we just so happened to walk up to the campfire at the same time. It doesn't mean I brought him. It was just it was a coincidence. It was a coincidence.
We'll see.
Yes, we will. And
So I'm feeling there's some past history here. You guys have done some jobs in the past, right? Juice to Nickel.
All right, Nickel, fess up. I know you've been watching me. What's the most shady thing you've seen me do?
It was actually this morning. I saw you dragging something quite heavy away from camp. Then I saw you burying said item. It seemed pretty suspicious to me. The reason I knew it was you in the first place was I could tell it was your boots from the distance.
Now, Nickel to Squint.
Alright, Squint, you have to explain to me, what is a nickel?
This is very secret knowledge that is only passed down from father to son in every Tinker family. So I need you to go ahead and make a blood promise that you will not reveal this information.
Blood promise.
Yes. Here's my knife.
I got my own, thanks.
Okay. Now I need you to go get a dove from the coterie, and I need you to kill it and come back to me when you have blood on your forehead.
I don't need to know that bad.
Okay. And now we'll go back around in reverse fashion. Squint to Nickel.
Nickel, why is Fats Geronimo and his marauders hunting us down?
Fats Geronimo and his marauders are hunting us. Don't you remember? All 5 of us were in their tents stealing their food. Were you drunk?
I make no claims one way or another. What Jim gave me.
Juice. I can't. Why did you bring me in on this?
I did not bring you in on this for the last time.
You brought me.
No, I did not bring you. I said follow me if you want. You decided that you were going to follow me. I did not bring you in on this. You are here of your own choice. It was just by happenstance that we crossed paths. I told you where I was going. I asked where you were going. You said you didn't know. I said, follow me if you want. And then we came on this campfire. A mile over the next hill. So it wasn't even that long.
Yeah.
Now, Juice to...
This is a nickel.
I just got a tab.
Oh, this was a nickel.
All right, tell me this, Link. I know you're holding out on some of the weaponry that we find. You seem to come up with like a new weapon every single time we need to use one. But you're not sharing that with the rest of the group. What's up?
Well, most of the time those are just throwaway weapons. After that instance, it's either too badly damaged to repair, or there's no ammunition available for it. So why should I bother keeping it? I could craft you something if you need me to.
You're a fixer, right?
Yeah.
Why not fix it?
If it's worth fixing, not fix it.
A couple things have been worth fixing because it saved all our hides.
Trust me. If it can be fixed, I fix it and I either sell it or I give it to one of you guys.
Okay.
Alright, Jim. Why is it that everywhere we go, you get that stupid bird following you?
So, do you know ravens can live up to like 20 years? You know, back when I was... Back when I was, younger, just getting in on this lifestyle.
Dumb!
How much lore can I know?
You can know all the lore about Wrangler. How much you want to share?
I mean, from
really up to you.
prehistory.
Oh, what are you trying to
Can my raven be named Poe?
Nevermore.
I'm good with it. Maybe we learn later on why.
So, Poe and I started leaving out some food and trinkets for him, and he's been following me ever since.
Shiny.
We're good friends.
Okay. It looks like you might make a good dinner one day.
I'm sure he would make for something.
All right, good deal. Does anyone have anyone that they want to ask anyone else, or
I think you should ask one for Jordan.
ask one for Jordan? Yeah, that's fine. I have one picked out that I saw a moment ago, in fact. Who shares a dark secret with you?
Well, there was this one time, me and Mint. We were out on a bartering mission, and Lenny, he saw me with my secret, and I threatened to cut off his feet if he ever came at me or mentioned it ever again. And I mean it.
Your heart will be next.
Who's So, survivors operate in bands, most commonly in the rulebook called your party or your group, but ultimately they could be as well organized or as disorganized as a dysfunctional Thanksgiving dinner family as you want it to be. So it could be something where you had a name and a sigil and a coat of arms and a history and traditions, and it really depends on how you want to play that. It could be that you are generational products of this group, like your dad and your grandfather were it, you're it because they were, and it really depends on what you want it to look like. It could be that you guys just fell in, and there's one unique, awesome, hilarious, embarrassing story about like why you guys became A Knight's Tale. So take a minute and figure out maybe what the ethos of the group is, or maybe what your most recent adventure is. Everyone's goal is survival. But to some extent, some people are more interested in rebuilding society and humanity, and others are more interested about learning how we fell and how is there anything there that can be used to rebuild. And others are just more interested in about profit and self. And then there's the dark, too.
Well, personally, I figure that I tend to travel between havens, looking for work, whatever work they need somebody with my talents to do. I can't say I don't have a homeland, but I can say that the reason I left my homeland is because of Nickel's family.
We got a feud going on.
So it's immediately interesting to me then that you would be in the same group.
Yes.
There's got to be some incredibly powerful piece of information or motivating factor or requirement placed on you by something that you guys are willing or able to work together.
Generational feud between our families.
And judging from the questions and the answers, I kind of felt like we were all generally individuals operating within a same area, but that we join up for different jobs at times, either with each other or with other people. And so for whatever reason,
we've worked together over the years.
Yeah.
If anything, the group is less than generational. It's more of a, kind of in its infancy in terms of, we've done things together for years, but we don't necessarily have the same kind of trust that a more cohesive group would have.
Yeah.
So I was thinking that Juice is true to his trade. He hops from group to group, seeing what gives him the best chance of survival. He starts to see that a group, his chances for survival with that group are going down. He's going to jet. And he may even do some things to increase his chances to that group as he exits.
It's almost like watching an Ocean's sequel. Nobody really gets along. They just have skill sets that work.
Yeah.
So, in that vein, I don't know that it has a name.
No.
Ooh.
The Ramblers.
Interesting thought. This could be cool for a campaign idea, is we are just kind of cobbled together by happenstance, and we don't consider we have a name, but then as we travel around, we find out that other people are calling us something.
Ooh.
Yeah. I like that.
Ooh, I like that a lot.
But that we are unaware of until we come across.
Sure.
And the description of this, and we're like, oh gosh, we need to stay away from that group.
But everywhere you go, everyone's closing the shutters.
I like that.
I gotta say, you kind of missed an opportunity by naming it Poe. You could have named him Beam.
Jim Beam.
And Jamison, too, right? Come on.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
And one of the things I carry around is a jug of grain alcohol.
I see that Final Fantasy X character that's always carrying the jug.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we dig in?
Yes.
So you have, for most of your careers, been traveling in the Southlands. And recently there have been some pretty terrible storms in the lowlands. And you've found yourselves at the foothills of some mountains where there is a haven that's done fairly well for itself because it is right off of a major trade route. And in Grimworld, routes and travel and roads are very secret things. They're very coveted things because pavement and asphalt leads to death and to ancestor cities that have become dark cities. So the layer of footpaths and dirt roads and secret signposts and markers for trails is an entire art belonging to a group of people known as the Lensers. There's usually a Lenser in a haven, not always, but you almost never know who they are, because map making and map keeping is a very secret art. Because if you know where the roads are, you can control everything. So it is that you have found yourself just outside of this haven called Shadevale, a very happy little haven nestled into the foothills, away from most of the hubbub and treachery that happens in the lower lands. There are no scavenger camps nearby. From your nearest estimation, there have been no behemoths through the area, which are extremely large monsters. If you see one on the horizon, doesn't matter why you're going the direction you're going, you're changing that direction. So you're outside of Shadevale. It's a crisp autumn evening. You don't really hear too much. You hear every once in a while a little tinkle of conversation or laughter, but for the most part, it seems warm and beckoning and inviting. But as the evening is going on, it makes the most sense to venture forth into this haven and determine what it might contain.
Is it common to see lodgings available, or is that something that you would have to bargain with?
So when you enter a haven, and the rules for that are not in the book currently, but when you enter the haven, you roll to inquire about or see what merchants might be there, or even, there's a general store. It's been closed for 2 weeks because Bob had just packed up one day and left, and we don't know if he's coming back. We're going to give him another week, and then Tim's going to take over the general store. So all kinds of things can happen. It's not uncommon, if it is a friendly haven, to find people that will put you up, because traveling groups are not so common yet that there is need for lodging everywhere you go, right? It's mostly you stay with either the boss or the governor or the mayor, whatever they might call themselves, or a clergy member and their family, because there's usually a place of worship that's a little bit larger. It might double as education, as a schoolhouse, so to speak. But it really depends on the development level of the area that you're in and what their day-to-day life looks like. The larger haven, the more fields they have to work to sustain their population, right? So Shadevale is probably about 100, 150 people. Pretty small. Still really individual families in the same spot kind of feel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And none of us have been there before.
None of you have been there before. You heard that it was a prospering haven, not quite what we might consider thriving, but you heard that it was somewhere that was fairly safe based on local monsters, travel patterns, and you do know that a day or two over the mountains, you're not quite sure what direction, but you know that a day or two over the mountains, there's another haven that's a major trade center. So we'll have our first skill check of the game. For those interested, roll lore. If you are skilled in lore, that means you roll your brains and add 1. If you're not skilled in lore, you will roll brains, 1d6. An easy difficulty is a 3 or better. A hard difficulty is a 5 or better. This will be an easy roll.
So you mentioned that before, but actually lore's not on the character sheet.
Oh, no.
So it should have been?
It should have been.
Okay.
And they all should be even, so there's a greater problem afoot.
Yeah.
Well, there's not missing, but one of the brains ones needs to be changed to lore. It might be crafting. I would have to go back and look.
Okay. It wouldn't have changed what I did.
Okay. All right.
I got a 6.
Oh.
3.
So,
3.
As a matter of our campfire session, everyone take 1 die, or if somebody wants to donate 5 dice, and place them in this tray in the center. This is a representation of your reputation, of your experience in life. So, because Jeremy rolled a 6, a natural 6, you will add 1 to the pool. Remember, these can be used to check your odds, to add a die or re-roll a die, depending on the situation. So, no one rolled less than a 3? Okay. Still fairly common knowledge because as the majority of the party knows it, so everybody knows it. You know that the haven nearby is how they do a lot of their trade, right? So you surmise that Shadevale operates with this other haven kind of dependent on them for different things. So they provide something, they receive something, and that something is vital.
So we are walking into this haven currently?
There are wooden walls around it, and it backs up to a pretty sizable cliffside. All of the structures are mostly wood, and there's some stone roofs that you see. This is fairly remarkable because not everybody can work with stone in this manner. So you get the sense that Shadevale is very well built. Even though the walls look a little rickety on the outside, like they could use some help, but most of the effort went into building the buildings inside the stockade. But the stockade itself, not being super well built, again speaks to the safety of the area.
So as we walk into Shadevale, as a clergy member, I have the ability to sense dark within a certain range, 100 yards. Do I get any heebie-jeebies as we're walking in?
You do not.
As we're walking, Juice is going to walk by Nickel and be like, hey, you need this back. Gives him back his pencil.
Thanks.
Just he didn't know it.
It appears that there is a church or religious structure in the center of town and a small home off to one side. People seem to be gathered outside of the religious structure off to one side in what appears to be a common area. Tables, benches, there are lanterns strung up that are lit. It's just a very peaceful feel. You hear music, which is a very nice rarity.
Can we tell what type of religious bent it is?
It is a house of the children of autumn. It is a wild, weave-centric religion. That does give you an idea that they are probably would react positive to magic, but not necessarily how well they might react to shadow magic. Since you're looking at that, give me an observation roll. All right. You see on several of the homes different markings on the doorposts. It looks like they are all related to this religion of the children of autumn.
Which I know to be a weave-centric.
Wild weave, yes. So very elemental focused, very druidic practices.
Telepathically, I am going to ask my raven if they see any weave influence in those symbols in particular.
Okay. So the way animals work in this system is lasers and feelings. So you have empathy and aggression, and you have a link rating. Your raven, for instance,
It's a 5.
has a link of 5. That means it's not very aggressive, but it's really empathic. This is a understanding the human world action, so it would be empathy. So you need to roll under a 5 on a d6 to succeed.
2!
Very good. So if they need to do something aggressive, you roll over the link, and if they need to do something empathic, you roll under.
That's a good system. I like that.
So it's simple, but it's unique enough to animals and bonds that it's cool.
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
Yes, there are several symbols that look like they have been not only visually more ornately carved or drawn, but have some element of weave that is moving through them.
Okay.
I want to look, as we're going through the gates, I want to look for any kind of a defense weaponry along the fence line.
So there is one tower to the left that is manned by a single individual. Got his feet kicked back. You can see what looks to be some kind of spear-launching weapon, harpoon gun thing beside him, and an alarm bell. You smell sweet tobacco coming from that direction, and it doesn't seem very caring that a group of strangers just walked into the haven.
So Juice is kind of walking, and he kind of slows towards the back of the group, and he's like, do you guys think that this place is a little too nice? I've never seen a haven like this. Not even close.
Easy pickings, I tell you, as I'm digging through my bag of robes to pull out a one with leaves going up and down the lapels. And
Jim,
yes,
if it were easy pickings, it wouldn't look this nice.
He's right.
I'm going to roll my investigate or my observe.
Okay.
So do I roll 1 die or 2 for that?
Is that
Yes.
what
And
you're
you are skilled at it?
Yes.
So you rolled 1 die and
One
add
die.
1 to it.
Okay.
There will not be in this game, really, unless specifically directed to like shooting a gun or something like that, where you roll more than 1 die.
Gotcha.
5.
Yeah, I rolled a 5.
Ooh, nice. Okay. You were attempting to observe what specifically?
The nature of the surroundings of the town.
Okay. It's
Or
clean, it's well kept. People have possessions out front of their homes, so they don't feel like they're at risk for theft. And some of them look more permanent, like a garden. There is a sense of permanence to this place.
Does it seem to be like a perpetual harvest time at all? Like maybe there's like some sort of magic fueling production of food that's always available for harvest in this area?
So, give me an observation roll.
I got a 4.
Nice. So you notice that there's not hardly any food. Not only did you not see crops in the area, you don't see beasts of burden. You don't see anything that would go along with food production. And in fact, while looks like there is some kind of holiday ceremony, autumn celebration thing going on, you notice that the faces of the children are kind of gaunt. That even the guardsmen, as you might say, that are standing at the edge, the young men who might have weapons on their sides here and there, they don't look well muscled. In fact, the more you look around, the more it becomes obvious to you that this haven has very little food. So it then becomes remarkable to you that they are in such good spirit.
Yeah, I think I'm with Juice on this one, Jim. I think that something is incredibly off here. Look how emaciated everybody is, but they seem happy. There's no food, but it looks like they're decorating for harvest time.
They're decorating at all.
Yeah.
There's music!
There's a garden gnome. There is no garden to have a gnome. And where do you even get a garden gnome?
And what's a gnome?
We are in a society where this small person does not exist. Why is it here?
No, I'm agreeing with you. Don't worry. Yes, there's something seriously shisty going on here.
And you want to go do some more shiesty stuff?
As you stand at the edge of this group, observing the intricacies and minutiae of them, a young man comes running towards you, face lit up, elated, has what looks like maybe like a year 1 priest robes on kind of thing. Like he's the kid in the organization, let's be honest. Think of excited farm boy Luke Skywalker. He comes bubbling up to you. Are you here with the caravan? And before you can answer, he turns and he yells, "The caravan! The caravan is here!" And everyone turns their attention toward you, clapping and cheering and running towards you, and flowers are getting pulled from displays and laid at your feet, and you're beckoned forward towards the church.
Well met, brothers and sisters. Yes, we are with the caravan. We set out ahead of the caravan to greet you in the name of the caravan. And the caravan is coming. We are its forerunners.
So Juice's eyes kind of go flat. He takes a step back, and he's looking around for who in this haven might be the leader.
Yeah. Franklin just kind of looks at Jim like, "What are you doing?"
Like, so we're doing this again. So the young man that heralded your presence runs over to the hut beside the church and starts rapping on the door. Father, they're here! They're here! The caravan has returned! We're saved! An old, wizened-looking man comes out, slowly at first, hobbling with a cane, leaning on the doorpost, again very frail, gaunt, extra skin hanging off, just the appearance of someone that has not been well for some time. Sits down on a bench in front of the home, between the church and the home, and he's breathing heavily, and he's looking at you all with very inquisitive eyes, and cocks his head to one side as though there is something that just doesn't jive for him in what this young man is telling him. The young man is beckoning you forward, and the crowd is kind of pushing you forward, and you find yourselves momentarily brought before this old man. Now, maybe not all of you, but you're just caught up in the excitement of the crowd. So unless you're going to want to hang back, that's where you will find yourself.
I am moving forward with the crowd.
I am staying back.
Juice has no qualms about hiding that he is shrugging people off that are coming close to him. It's like he's extending a hand. If anybody comes any closer, he's like moving it away, and he just points.
That's exactly how.
Points in the direction where everybody else is going, and kind of like, you should be going that way. Don't stand here with me.
That's exactly how Franklin is too.
But it works for them, right?
Yeah.
Because probably in a world this broken, caravans have guardsmen, or have protectors, or have special, even some might say lawbringers that are escorting them, which are almost mythical individuals in their ability to conduct warfare.
So I feel like I am not exactly jiving with the atmosphere of the crowd, but
The only person that is Jim.
we might be able to make some barter here. So I will go ahead and reach into my wares and produce some of the items that I have for barter. Yeah, see, this is what the caravan has waiting for you in greater supply.
Oh, this produces some different looks. Inquisitive, perhaps even mistrusting looks.
And more!
And you hear one little kid go, Mom, that's not food.
This, my friend, is what the ancients would call a ration bar. Breaks off a small piece. It is made out of a rare item called protein. A small sample for your child. Bless you, my lady.
The
Blessings
child
to you.
takes it and
Blessings to you.
smells and licks it.
Blessings
Like
to you.
it's almost like the communion wafers. Yeah.
And we got the wine.
Yes.
Did the guards come off the tower?
No, there's only one up there, and there's only one tower.
I want to go up
Okay.
into
Yes.
the tower.
Oh, okay.
Like, not threateningly. Not threateningly.
Influence, give me an observe. Both easies.
Telepathically, I am asking my raven to kind of fly up, look around, and get an eye to see if there is a
So
caravan.
give me
in the
another
area.
empathy roll. 2.
2.
Oh boy. Well, the guard is not very appreciative of you being in the tower, and actually that's going to be a test. So it's he rolled a 3, greater than your 2. He's gonna be like, nah, sorry.
I don't resist it.
Okay, all right. Are you conversing at all?
Yeah, I wanted to talk to him. Ask him if he's seen anybody else coming through the area. I know you're waiting on the caravan to show up, and I was hoping to get a view from your tower, see how far out they are.
Unfortunately, they pass through the mountain pass behind us, but you would, if you were from the caravan, you would know that.
Well, no, they have to go back along the path.
Right.
There's no entrance into the village from behind.
Right. But they're also long overdue. How is it that you herald their presence and they are not yet upon us? How far out are they?
They shouldn't be more than a day at the most.
That's good news. Jeremy, you see on the top of the cliff, you see a torch pyre, and you see 2 individuals walking back and forth, presumably guardsmen. The Raven.
I rolled a 6.
Oh boy. No,
That's a failure.
That's a failure. Something smells really good around here, and it's very distracting. So you find yourself thrust before the papal entity here.
Do I know what his title would be?
So you heard him referred to as Father, which is in a great many Children of Autumn settings how they referred to their priests, their pastors. So if you want, give me a lore roll and I'll actually read the lore from the book about the Children of Autumn.
Okay, so I have brains 1. There is no lore.
0. So just roll the brains.
5.
5, all right. Of the many groups and factions that rise and fall in the wastelands and havens of Grimworld, one that has made its mark on humanity is the Children of Autumn. The Children of Autumn is a group of peaceful pilgrims. They are practitioners of the wild thread of the weave, constantly seeking to do good for others and forsaking personal gains. Followers of the group own nothing and give everything that they receive to those around them in a demonstration of the hope that they believe is found in living a life dedicated to the weave. from an excerpt from Elder Jones from the Children of Autumn. How do we rebuild if we do not understand where we have come from, and what might still be left for us to use as tools to conquer that which vanquished humanity in the darkest days of our history? We must give all that we have without fail, so that we might seek through an unfettered lens how we can best be instruments in the rebirth of humanity.
So I might have actually unintentionally jumped into their tenets by handing out pieces of the protein bar.
Yes.
But it also strikes you as weird that they have built a church here and have a significant presence, which is much nicer than is characterized by most monastic lifestyles.
Greetings, Father. I can see that you are greatly blessed beyond measure to be able to sustain with so little so much.
Yes, my son, it has been a challenge. But please, pray tell you, what news do you bring of the caravan?
The caravan is on its way. We are the forerunners of the caravan, but we fear it may be delayed. We should not be too much beyond the caravan.
We feared the worst when it did not return, that something had happened to it. My son, as you know, was amongst it, and I fear for their lives.
And a great lad he is, with great strength of arms. I am sure he will be well. If the caravan does not return within the next day, we may need to go seek the caravan.
I think I would advise that. I feel in my bones a storm coming. It might be best to go back and reinforce them, for your presence has given us hope enough that food is yet beyond the horizon by only a day or two.
Yes, the weave provides against the darkness.
Be well, my son.
Be well, Father.
He gets up and slowly makes his way over, kind of holds his hand up over the people, and they quiet. They kind of press in to hear what he has to say. These travelers will be rejoining the caravan. They have brought us hope that the caravan is close by. But the weave has revealed that there is a storm coming, and I desire for them to make sure that the caravan is as safe as possible, so we can once again have food, and perhaps learn from these folk why it is that it has been such a delay. Be well, my children. He hobbles his old bones into the house, and that's the last you see of him for a moment. So then the young man approaches you and says, "We appreciate so much. When do you depart? Shall you depart this evening, or rest the night and depart in the morning?"
We had wished to depart in the morning, but seeing your lack of food, I believe we should depart near immediately to return to the caravan and the Father's son. Do you have anything with which to send us to assist the caravan before we leave?
We have some beasts of burden in the back stable that you can use. Some horses. There are but 4 of them.
We will only require 2. We do not wish to take all that you own.
We will get them ready for you at once. Can we perhaps interest you in a cup of mead as you wait?
Of course.
Just just absolutely. Please direct me that. In fact, if you want to do that before you even get the horses ready, you're good.
That's good.
Just make sure I can get a good buzz on.
Right. I don't want to ride straight up. So unless anyone has any other actions they would like to be doing, there's going to be some drinks served, they're going to get the horses ready, and you will find yourselves ready to depart the haven.
That sounds like a great place to take a rest for the evening in the wonderful town of Shadevale. Rest well, sleep tight, and don't be hungry. See you next time. Thank you for listening to Bone Throwers Theater. We are releasing this podcast under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 3.0 Unported license. That means you can share the podcast, but please do not modify it or try to gain financially from it. If you would like to visit our website, you can do so at bonethrowerstheater.com. If you would like to send us an email, you can do so at bonethrowerstheater@gmail.com. Our Twitter handle is bonethrowerstheater. You can also look us up on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And until next time, may the bones fall ever in your favor. This has been a Nerd Circle podcast production.